I can do just to tidy up this form. One of them in Dreamweaver is to make my appointment date field a little bit larger. So let's say I will give it a size of 21 or 30 even, and I will give it a disabled so that it will display, but it won't really allow input. We want all input to come through the calendar, so it all comes in a consistent fashion. And there we see maybe 30 might be a little too large, but we are not allowing the user to get into the date. So that is our simple interactive calendar, and you can see our form, and you can see the value that the calendar adds in making it simpler and more consistent to get information through the website to the business. Thank you. Now that we've got our simple interactive form working, both able to transfer data back and forth from the calendar, or at least from the calendar to this text field and therefore to the data in PHP, and then able to have PHP process that data, let's do one more step and integrate that form in a way that visually ties the calendar into the form and into the date field. So that will just take a few minutes and probably simplest to do in CodeView. So let's find our date field. And what I'm going to do, we don't need the label here because it's not an input field. Remember, we disabled it. We said 30 was a little large. Let's make that 25. And then let's take it and let's take that and let's cut that code and move it above our calendar. And our calendar is right here where it says div ID Yahoo User Interface Calendar 1. That will be the visual representation of our calendar. So I'm going to take both of these elements, the paragraph and the div, and I'm going to wrap them in a div, a new class that I'll create. Let's call that cal wrapper, just to give a little bit of visual emphasis to those two elements working together. So let's basically create a box, and let's say it's 220 pixels wide, and then it floats to the right, and let's give it margin and padding of 10 all the way around, and maybe a background color just to tie it a little bit visually together. And when I hit OK, and then look in design mode, and of course save my files so they can go out to the server, I see, that I've tied these in a way that are visually appealing. I might have to do some work over there, but also they're part of the form, but they're also separate from the form so that they don't get in the way of the flow of input. So just through those simple steps, we have a simple yet the starting framework for a very useful form to increase a business's marketing potential through their website.